Today on EDN 509, we will explore the cultural significance of Sacajawea. Now to correspondent Mallory Collins.
So, what does Sacajawea mean? Saca means bird. Jawea means woman. Okay. So what can you tell us about your life, Sacajawea? Well, I was born into the Shoshone tribe. My father was a chief, so therefore I was a princess. When I was 10, I was kidnapped by the Minatari people and taken as a slave. Then I met my husband, who was a French trapper. He then took me under his wing, and that's that.
Okay. So how are you introduced to Lewis and Clark, and when did that happen?
Through my husband. He spoke the white man's language, and as Lewis and Clark were traveling across America, they needed a translator. So as they traveled, I went with them.
And how were you useful in the journey of Lewis and Clark?
I spoke the Native American language. So therefore, when we came across different tribes, I was introduced and was able to trade and get food for our people. I was also able to make food out of roots, nuts, and berries.
And what did you do after the expedition of Lewis and Clark?
After the expedition, I went back with my husband, the French trapper, to our tribe and stayed there for 3 years with my child. Then we got a letter from Clark saying that he wanted to take my child and myself on in St. Louis and take care of us. We waited 3 years to finally say yes. And then when we finally went, I passed away. But Clark wanted to make sure that my child was taken care of. So he was put in a white man's school and got a white man's education.
Well, thank you, Sacajawea, for your culturally significant interview.
You're welcome.
What you have just seen is an interview activity that teachers in grades K-12 use to spur their students' learning of American heroes, in this case, Sacagawea. Depending on their age, students can obtain information from books, teacher handouts, or even the internet. Often this information is grossly inaccurate, and students learn the stereotypes and myths that surround our historical heroes. So what? They're at least learning something about American history, right? Yes and no. We asked a class of graduate-level teaching students to explain the significance of Sacajawea. This wordle showcases their answers. The largest words denote the most frequent responses. As you can see, these stereotypes and myths linger throughout our lives. Let's examine how a teacher might use historical information usually obtained from primary resources to use Sacajawea as a springboard for multicultural education. We know that our students' lives are affected by the socio-political context in which they find themselves. Therefore, we must consider these conditions in our implementation of multicultural education. Sacajawea, as you remember from our wordle, is known as a Native American woman and a guide. Actually, her husband was the guide, and she was included in the expedition as a translator, though it is known that she helped with some of the navigation on the expedition. Take a look at some real facts about Sacajawea. Can you see where our students can make connections between their lives and hers? There are many, many ways to use Sacajawea and all of our American heroes as catalysts for multicultural education. But we have to be courageous and spark those conversations that will lead to our students learning about themselves and others on a deep level. Here are some ideas to get you started. In our study of multicultural education, we asked that same group of graduate students to describe multicultural education and why they think it's important. This wordle shows their responses. If we as teachers really feel this strongly about these aspects of multicultural education, then why are we still merely teaching heroes and holidays?
Bye.